Welcome, everybody. Thank you so much for joining me. We are talking about New Year, New You, and congratulations, first and foremost, for turning up and taking the time to yourself to figure out what it is that you want for yourself for the new year. Because if you don't fill up your cup first, then it's really hard to serve others. And I know how incredibly important that is to so many of you. But really, starting here is the place to start. This is where the action happens. This is where the magic happens. So I'm excited to get stuck into it with you. I encourage you to make sure you've got with you a notepad and pen. I've put the resources in a Google Drive folder, which you can access by clicking on the chat now if you want to click that now and download all of those. Some of them we can use throughout, but others you'll be able to go and dive into a little bit later. I'm super excited to share with you the strategies that have been working for me in the last couple of years in my business, especially as my business has grown and as my family has grown as well. So let's get stuck straight in, shall we? Welcome. I'm Stacey Morgan. If you haven't joined me before, but I think everybody that's on the call has been here at some point in some of my learnings. And so it's so good to have you back. Thank you so much for taking the time. I am the owner of 4 businesses. I'm used to saying, my usual spiel, which is I own 3 successful businesses and have 3 children, but I acquired a new business over the Christmas break. And so I now need to kind of get used to my new little saying. It's 4 businesses and 3 children. It's definitely not going to be 4 children. We're done when it comes to the children, but the businesses, it's been an interesting journey. So I am working hard to make sure that the strategies that I've put in place with just the 3 businesses are going to, put me in good stead for the 4 businesses as well. And I'm looking forward to sharing those strategies with you tonight. So this was me in the early days, doing absolutely everything in my business, raising my family, but trying not to drop any of the balls that I was juggling in the air. That's Lucinda, post feeds in the center of the screen, on a pillow on my lap whilst I was using my computer. That's her over my shoulder while I'm sitting at the theatre watching my children dance. And of course, that's her in my tummy as I was trying to teach classes as well, because there was a time in my business where I didn't think that I could actually have a day off, or actually not be in the studio, or not be the person taking the payments, or not be the person that was there 24/7. I actually thought that in order to have a successful business, I needed to be as stressed as humanly possible. I don't know what made me kind of put the stressed and success in the same barrel, but for the first couple of years of my business, that was it. I thought that was exactly how it needed to be. And boy, have I come a long way since then. The thing that changed for me was that Lucinda got a little bit older. She started moving around. She was no longer a baby that I could put in a capsule and stick in the corner of the room whilst I was teaching. She was no longer the baby I could put on my lap. And she started to move around, and I really started to struggle with trying to juggle all of the things that I was juggling. I was trying to do everything for everybody in every aspect of my world. And what I've learned is that there's only so much of you to go around. You only have a certain amount of time, a certain amount of energy, and a certain amount of money. And those are the 3 resources that you really need to decide where you're going to spend them, because that is exactly what helps you build the lifestyle that you want, where you spend your time and your money and your energy. So I decided that I wanted to spend my time with Lucinda, and therefore I needed to put money and resources into my business in order to help other people step up and shine in my business, rather than me trying to take control of absolutely everything. And because I had a 9-month-old at the time, and then went on to have 2 more babies after that, I also needed to figure out where I wanted to spend my energy. And so it was really important to me that when I was with the kids, I had enough energy to be the mum that I wanted to be with them. But it was also important to me that when I was at work, that I had the energy to be the leader that I wanted to be for my team. I was the teacher that I wanted to be for my students. And so finding that delicate balance of time and money and energy was the thing that changed for me, and has really been a game changer in me being able to move forward with my businesses, having my business grow, all my businesses grow, having my family grow as well. And now that I'm adding businesses, more businesses, it's so much more important to try to always be thinking about where I'm going to be using those precious resources. And I do hope that you're going to be thinking about that today as well. So life right now looks a whole lot different to that very first screen where I was dragging Lucinda along to everything. Now I get to go to things. And when I get to be there, I get to be there 100%. On the screen, you can see me and my husband in his really attractive Christmas rash shirt, walking to the beach, which is down the road from where we live, you know, taking the kids with their hats and their sunscreen across the road to the beach is one of our favorite pastimes. And I get to do that a whole lot more. I get to be at school and do activities with the school and the kids in school. And now that Patrick and Lucinda are both in school, that's so important. I'm at swimming lessons with Henry because that is, you know, another thing that lights me up and is so incredibly, such an incredible part of my week and something that is so important to me as well. So all of those little things are things that I definitely couldn't do before I started implementing these strategies. There was absolutely no way that I was going to have the time and energy to be volunteering at school. There is no way that I would be able to go to the beach with my family. I had to be in front of my laptop, catching up on all the work that I hadn't done before. So things are a lot different for me now. And, you know, that includes me, myself. I get time to walk on the beach on my own and have a coffee. I get time to go on holidays and have a cocktail. I get time to go and see shows with my husband, Heath, which is, you know, my absolute favorite pastime. And there's us sitting in the front row of the balcony with Hamilton, which was pre-COVID and pre-lockdown, but it was still a really, really special time. And these are things I can do now because I'm implementing the strategies that we're going to talk about today. So it's these 3 strategies that you will need to help you set your goals and see them through so that you can experience personal success and business success as well. And the balance that you strive for between those 2 things. You know, sometimes we talk about balance like it's a dirty word, like it's something that is, you know, unattainable and unachievable and something that we should kind of put out of our mind as something that doesn't happen. The thing is, you need to decide what that looks like for you and be okay with the fact that it looks like something different for everybody. So spending a lot of time at work might be right for somebody, spending a lot of time with your family might be right for somebody else. You need to figure out what it is for you. And hopefully through tonight and also through other discussions that we will have in the future, you will get closer to figuring out what that means for you. So let's get stuck in. The very first strategy is how to set your goals and plan your time, because time is this infinite resource that we have that we often don't use as well as we can. So I always encourage everybody to start this process by tracking your time, and you can get your time tracker as part of the resources at lauravanderkam.com. She has them in 30-minute and 15-minute increments as well. And this spreadsheet is really something that is going to really set you off in terms of being able to figure out first and foremost where you're spending your time. Because if we don't know where we're currently spending our time, how can we figure out where we're going to spend our time or where we want to spend our time? It's so incredibly important to be able to understand exactly where all of the time that we have is going. We all have 168 hours in a week. You know, you, me, Beyonce, all of us. How are we going to use that time and use that time well? So I encourage you to start by tracking your time. Put your time tracker on the kitchen bench, somewhere where you can see it, and make your way through that, for the next 7 days, so that you can see, how long am I spending sleeping? Do I need to be spending more time? How long does it take me to get ready in the morning? How long does it take me to get the kids ready in the morning? What am I doing with the time after the kids have gone to bed at night? What am I doing during mealtime? Am I, spending time standing in the kitchen, scrolling on Instagram when I should be washing up or should be preparing or could be doing something else? I know I'm guilty of, disappearing into that social media void. But when we start tracking our time, we get a really clear indication of exactly where we're spending our time. So I encourage you to start with the time tracking exercise. And once you've done that, I want you to think about, okay, this is what I've done. This is what I can see. This is where I'm spending my time. What do I want 2022 to look like? Grab another blank one of these sheets and then start at the top. Start with the most important stuff. So working your way through the amount of time you're going to spend at your workplace and the amount of sleep that you're going to have, they're the 2 things that need to go in. Because often those 2 things are the things that are non-negotiable, right? We have a certain amount of hours we need to spend either to service our clients, to deliver our services, to, be there for our boss. Whatever the thing is that we do for work, we need to make sure that we have the time in our week to do that. Sleep is non-negotiable. I think it's so important to know how much time you need to sleep because it's different for all of us. I know Heath can run easily easily on 5 hours sleep. He can go to sleep at midnight and wake up at 5 and still be as chirpy as if he had 10 hours sleep. Whereas that does not work for me. I need a solid 8 hours, non-negotiable, if I want to be, the kind of person that I want to be out there in the world, and not some awful version of that instead. Into your time tracker, you want to put your meals as well. You want to put down the times that that you are spending either feeding the children, feeding yourself, times that you're going out for dinner. If you have family dinners that happen once a week, things that are non-negotiable, they go in your time tracker next. And then you need to fill in the things that also are, are the obligations, the things we need to do. Do you have kids' activities that you need to go to? Do you have things that need to happen? Do you go to church on Sunday? Do you go over to a friend's house every Saturday afternoon? What are the things in your week that, are the things that just happen? They get to go in next. And once you've done that, you'll be able to see, hopefully, some white space where you actually have room and things that can, room for yourself, and things that where you can get creative and actually put something in there that is going to be for you. So on your piece of paper that you have with you now, I'd like you to write a list of things that you would love to have, things that would be really nice to have. That could be an early morning walk on the beach. You could get up early and have, breakfast to yourself. You could go to bed early one night and not have to worry about putting the kids down and doing the bath and doing the teeth and doing the stories and doing all of those things. Maybe one day you want to get somebody else to do school pickup for you. Wouldn't that be nice to not have to, stop what you're doing at 2:45 and rush to get the kids every afternoon at that time? Perhaps that's an afternoon activity that you would like to pass on to somebody else, or to enroll your kids in a program where they get picked up from school and they get sent, to the play center or to some kind of USH activity for the afternoon. What are these things that are on your list that would be nice to have, that would be nice to be included in your ideal week? I encourage you to think about those next. And hopefully, whilst I've been talking, you've been able to scribble a few of those down. So those will be the things that will go into your weekly planner next. And this activity is so valuable because it actually really shows you where your time is and where you actually have room to move. But the next thing, and is the thing that often, trips us up. In order to make these things happen, like if it was just as easy as clicking your fingers and writing it down and and doing it, we'd all be doing it. We'd all be living our ideal week every single week, but we don't, right? There are things that get in the way. There is organization that needs to happen. There are sacrifices that need to happen. There are other people that need to get involved. There are people that we need to lean on for support. And in order to make this happen, perhaps you're going to need to step up and do a few things to get organized and to get other people to support you, because you won't be able to do it on your own. And what I encourage you to do is really think outside the square. Is this something that you can organize with a quick phone call to another mum at school and to, do the drop off and the pickup one day each week? Is, there's someone on your child's soccer team that is going to be going to practice anyway that can take your child instead of you, to free up that little bit of time for you? Are there members of the family that you can call on? Or is it an option for you because of where you're using your resources, time, energy, money? Is it an option for you to put some money into some paid help to free up a bit of time for you? And how do you feel about that? Because the big question I want to ask next is, what's stopping you from doing this? Because often the things I'm sure that I'm saying, you're thinking, yeah, I could do that. I could call my mother-in-law, or I could call Auntie Bev, or I could, call Tracy, who's got, Spencer, he's in my child's class and he could do that. But often we don't, right? Often we kind of step back and go, oh, no, it's all right. I'll just do that myself. I'll just go about doing that myself. And, that was the attitude. And that was the, what I brought to the table in the early years of my business. Every time I thought, I'll delegate this task, or I'll get some help at home, or I'll have someone have Lucinda, one morning a week so that I can teach without a baby on my hip. I would think about it and I'd go, yeah, that's a great idea. And then I'd go, oh, no, it's fine. It's fine. I'll be fine. I can just keep doing it the way that I've been doing it. But I tell you, if nothing changes, nothing changes. So this is the year to really think about what changes you're going to make and what difference that's going to make for you in your life and in creating your ideal week. And I encourage you to, write yourself a little note and let's make that happen. Let's make that happen for you and for your family, for your mental and social and emotional well-being. And hopefully, if you're spending your time well, also for the growth of your business. So this is what mine looked like last year. Full disclosure, I haven't done this year's yet, but I will. I definitely will, especially before the kids go back to school. And so for me and for Heath, it's about logistics. It's about who's picking up, who's dropping off, who's doing dinner, who's in charge of the put down. Because we read the book Fair Play a couple of years ago in our relationship. And if you haven't read it with your partner, I totally encourage you to do so. It's behind me. I should be able to remember who the author is, but it's called Fair Play. There's Fair Play cards that you can get that come with it that I've seen at a couple of different independent bookstores that I've walked into. And what it's all about is it's about dividing up the tasks that you have in your house and putting someone in charge of something. Because so often the tasks that need to be done to run a household, you assume your partner's doing it, your partner assumes that you are doing it, and then whoever ends up doing it ends up resenting it. I'll use the lunches as an example. We didn't used to have a system for who did the kids' lunches. It was just whoever was in the kitchen at the time who happened to be there and who happened to get it done. And so each night we'd kind of both be doing this dance around the kitchen to kind of be like, I have to go and, scrub the bathtub or do anything other than stay in the kitchen long enough to be the person that said, oh, I'll just make the lunches. But what we decided to do instead, and what has worked so well for us, and you'll see it up there on our schedule, is that somebody is now in charge of dinner. Somebody is now in charge of putting the kids down. So it's not this dance around who's going to do it tonight or who happens to be in the right place at the right time or who do the kids ask for. I know that on Tuesday nights, Heath is in charge of put down. So once I've done the pickup of Lucinda and the kids are fed, I can tap out. I can go and do whatever I like because he's in charge of put down on that night. And the same with Wednesday. He'll go play basketball and I'm in charge of the put down on that night. So I'm looking after the kids and getting them to bed. So these things can go into your ideal week to make your whole week run a whole lot smoother. And I color code mine because it's good for me to know exactly where I'm spending my time and to be able to see it visually. I'm a visual person, so I love to be able to see it. So the time that I'm spending on coaching is in yellow, and the time that I'm spending on teaching and work within my business and on my business is in blue. So you'll see that there's kind of like a nice balance between the two of them. And on Tuesday, you will see a whole lot of white space because Tuesday last year was my day with Henry. So I'm at home with Henry that whole day and I'm not booking appointments and I'm not booking meetings and I'm not booking, going to meet people for coffee and booking in coaching calls or teaching a class or doing anything like that. Tuesdays is just white space. If he wants to go to the park, we go to the park. If he doesn't, we don't. And that's that. So I encourage you to make your own version of this. And if you do, I would love you to take a photo of it and share it with me. If you don't want to share it on your Insta story and tag me, if you just want to share it privately, I totally encourage you to do that. And I'm not saying that because I'm the teacher and I want to mark your work. I just want to hold you accountable. I want to be able to say to you, yes, two very enthusiastic thumbs up, nice work. Because if I'm not doing that, then you'll listen to what I'm saying and you'll go, that's a good idea. I probably don't have time, so I just won't worry about it. But I really want you to try it because it is a game changer. So please do your own ideal week and please send it to me so that I can give you a double thumbs up and pat you on the back, be your cheerleader. So the takeaway for this activity is to print out multiple worksheets, multiple spreadsheets, put one on the kitchen bench, use one to create your ideal week. Put the plans in place to make it happen. Call grandma, call Auntie Bev, call the people that you need to support you and to help you. Have the discussion with the people in your family. This is how it's going to work. This is what's going on. Print yourself a version. That version that I shared with you, I have one right here next to my desk. I have one that's where I get changed. I have one downstairs in the kitchen, one next to the toaster. So if there's any confusion, I can just point to it and say, this is what's going on. Put them in your house where you know that you will see them so that if you lose what you're doing for a little while, you can always come back to that. Yeah. And report back, share it with me. I would love to see all of your hard work. My second strategy is to get really clear on your family budget and what goals you have around money. For me, for so long, my business was a side hustle. I had a full-time job and then I had my business as a side hustle. And, a year and a half into that, and I was working at our local radio station. I was doing breakfast radio. So I was starting at 5 a.m. So getting up before 5 a.m., like being there at 5, I'd do, breakfast radio through till 10:30, 11 o'clock, go home, have a nap, get up at 2 o'clock, do all the paperwork for the business, teach from 3 till 9, go home, go to bed, do it all again. And that only lasted for a year and a half. As you can understand, I was completely burnt out. But when I finished my full-time job and then I was relying on the business in terms of making money, I all of a sudden had to go, oh, hang on, this is actually really, really important now, what I'm making and what those goals I have around money. Because whilst I had an expectation of what my business would earn, my partner also had an expectation, and those two expectations were not well aligned, let me tell you. And it wasn't until we got really clear together on our family budget that we could get on the same page with what our expectation was for my business and for him, for his business as well, in terms of what we're going to be contributing to the family and how that whole system is going to work. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen and share with you a sample budget that I have that I've also put in the document in the spreadsheet as a spreadsheet. I'd like to walk you through it so you don't kind of just look at it, because if you're anything like me, spreadsheets are not my jam. They scare me a little bit, but this one is very simple, and I'm hoping the simplicity of it will encourage you to get stuck into it. So we're going to be talking about where you're spending your money and how much money you need to make in your business in order for your business to be doing what you want it to do. Does that make sense? Everybody's with me? All right. Let me see if I can open this up and share this screen with you instead. Can everybody see Joe's Burgers? My Joe's Burgers budget. We're going to start backwards and move forwards. So let's talk about the family budget. Going through, and this is all, we're just talking about expenses here for your family. Listing out, when you have your own version of this, all of the expenses that you have, and I've just thrown in a few samples there. You will probably have a lot more, and you can add a lot more rows if you need to. Working your way down will give you a total of what your family is spending per year. If you go to the business budget, same thing. So what are you spending on marketing in your business? What are you spending on printing, on staffing, electricity, PD? And then I've written the things that I need for the services that I'm providing. So I'm providing products as part of Joe's Burgers. And, I've kept it really simple. We're doing cheeseburgers and fries and chocolate shakes, I think. So I've written down the things I'm going to need are buns and meat patties and milk. You with me? I'm trying not to overcomplicate things. So this figure here in terms of expenses for the business and this figure here in terms of expenses for the family both link back to this main page here, which is all about your business. And so for Joe's Burgers, the product that they have, let's start with the first one, is cheeseburgers. For the cheeseburgers, this is what they get. This is what this looks like. But if you were in a service-based business, perhaps you're doing an online course that is an offering, you would put the name of the course here and what the course entails, what people get when they join up and buy part of your course. But for me, at Joe's Burgers, we're selling cheeseburgers and we're hoping to have 1,000 customers per year. And those customers are going to pay $5 for their burger, and they're going to come and visit 3 times a year. So they're getting 3 burgers throughout the year. And so I've put all the systems in and all the automations in, so this will add up for you yourself. You don't have to do any of this. Then I've gone and done the same with the shakes and the fries. Let's just concentrate on that side of the screen for now, because 1,000 customers coming in is going to mean that we're going to have 3,000 customers overall. And when we're thinking about what we need in our business, and this is just aside from the budget, the amount of people that we have in terms of the customers that know, like, and trust us and love us should be about 4% of the business. So just as a sample, what I've done for you is just put down here the fact that whilst we have 3,000 people coming in to buy cheeseburgers, that means that 75,000 people need to know that Joe's Burgers exists. So that little portion of the spreadsheet is just for you and for your marketing and just for your brain to know about. So if we were only having one person come in to buy cheeseburgers, we would be in trouble, right? But with some good marketing, we can definitely get the message out to 75,000. So once you've put in all of your products down here, whoops, that's not going to do that. 1, 2, 3. Yeah. Then over here is the total that you're going to make from those customers and from the sale of your burgers and the sale of your fries and the sale of your shakes. So that's what you've earned. That's your revenue. Now, it's really important to know that how much you're going to be spending in your business needs to be taken away from that. So this figure that is here is going to be, this figure is the sum of this budget here and the sum of this budget here. So that's how much money your family and your business are going to cost you together. And that is that all up. And this is the amount at the end of the day. So if I have, I'm going to be totally short if this is the amount of people that are buying cheeseburgers. If people are only coming back to Joe's Burgers 3 times a year, we are in trouble. But if they all decide to come back 10 times during the year, then we're going to be in a lot nicer place. Does that all make sense to you? If you want help with it, you can always shout out. I tried to keep it as simple as possible. And this category here is for the cost of your event. So if you're doing an online course that's $47, that's where this will go here. And perhaps for an online course that someone is signing up with you, they're only going to need to do it once. So this won't be 10 times. They're not going to enroll in your online course 10 times. They're probably just going to do it once. And so hopefully the way that works will give you a clear understanding of exactly how much money you need to, you're going to be spending in your family and how much money you're going to be spending in your business, and therefore what your products and services need to bring in order to satisfy both of those expense lines. You with me? These are things I did not think about in the early days. I had absolutely no concept of exactly how much money we were spending in our family and how much money I was spending in our business. So I totally encourage you to dive into those numbers, even if they're a bit scary. And if the spreadsheet doesn't make sense, as I said, I can absolutely help you through that, because spreadsheets are not my jam, but I can get on board with that. So I want you to have a play around with the sample budget spreadsheet. If you haven't downloaded it already, it's in the Google Drive folder, which is in the chat. Punch in the figures that you know, guess the ones that you don't. Don't think, I can't do that spreadsheet until I figure out, how much each of the buns that I'm going to buy for Joe's Burgers are going to cost, and how much sauce we're going to use. And I'll just do it later once I've figured all of those things out. Don't do that. Just progress. Just do progress over perfection. Just get something done. Because the moment that you start thinking about this, when you step into your business and when you're creating and innovating in your business, all of this starts to make sense and all of this starts to become really important. So I want you to be able to put yourself in the best possible position in order to make enough money to not just make the business make money, but also to cover all the expenses for your family as well. That will make a huge difference when it comes to you being able to build the business that you love. So when you do this, you will be able to figure out where your time needs to be spent, right? If you need to spend time and money on getting people to return into your business, so be return customers and come back, because that's what the spreadsheet tells you, then you'll at least know, okay, that's where I need to focus on for my marketing. You will know how many customers you need to have on your database in order for you to make budget. We talked about 75,000 people needing to know about Joe's Burgers. If you want to have 3 clients, or 4 clients for next year, then you know that you're going to need to have at least 100 people on your database. It should be 4%. So knowing exactly how many customers you're going to have in, or being able to play with those numbers and tweak those numbers, gives you a really great sense of, everything is going to be okay because I've, hitting this target and hitting this target. It's not just kind of throwing stuff at a wall and waiting to see what sticks. You will know when it's okay and when it's not okay to be splurging on things. Yeah. When you see that, that Apple's having a sale and you think you need a new laptop, you will know if it's okay or if it's not okay to splurge based on the numbers that you are punching in. You'll be able to have open conversations with your partner and the people in your business about how much money the business is going to be making this year, where you need to, perhaps pull in some of your expenses, perhaps where you need to make sure that you know exactly where your money is going and what budget lines can kind of stretch a little bit and what ones can't. You will know how hard you need to push certain products and services in your business, because you'll be able to see the products and services that are doing really well, and you'll be able to see the ones that are not doing so well. And most of all, you'll have peace of mind to know what's working and what's not working in your business. And that clarity is so incredibly important. So I encourage you to implement Financial Fridays in your business. Find a time on a Friday, put it in your calendar right now. We're going to be talking about calendars in a minute, but put a reminder so that you know exactly how much time well, you don't know how much time, but you know that every week there is time that's set aside for you to be working through this budget, to be having a look at your P&L, to be having a think about, check out, log on to your banking and check out where you've spent money this week and where, what money has come in, who's paid their invoices and who hasn't. Often we kind of put that stuff to the side and go, we'll worry about that later when the bank account is empty. You want to be thinking about it consistently. And that is why Financial Fridays are so great. So implement that in your calendar, put it in there right now. Just start with 15 minutes, because if the thought of doing financial stuff for an hour every week scares the living daylights out of you, you don't have to. Don't stress. Just put 15 minutes aside. You can extend it later, and soon you will look forward to it because it will be a time of such great clarity for you. You could also book in time with your accountant then, so that you may perhaps during that Financial Friday, you can do a deep dive into your Xero or your MYOB or whatever you're using for your business and learn exactly how to use it and how to get the most out of it. If you're paying for a subscription, you want to be getting the most out of it. So you don't want to stick your head in the sand and just hope for the best. And if you're really struggling when it comes to Financial Friday, set a timer. If you're thinking, 15 minutes, really? I have to sit here for 15 minutes and go through my P&L? Oh gosh, set a timer. It'll go off before you know it. And then you'll be brave enough to do it week after week and it'll get better. Trust me. And strategy number 3 is to become a to-do list ninja and to get your calendar sorted. Now, so many of us start the new year with New Year's resolutions about being more organized. Hands up, thumbs up. Who is that? Don't hide. Yes. Thank you for being honest. Love. And so for me, the organization in my world really comes down to 2 key pillars. And those 2 things are the to-do list and the calendar. They work side by side. They complement each other. If one's not working, the other one's not working. And I tell you what, I'm not perfect at it all the time. I can flip-flop and move in and out of, good times and bad times with both my to-do list and my calendar. But I tell you what, if we are working at capacity and stuff is really going, it's because the to-do list and the calendar are talking to each other and working well. So let's get you organized and let's get you working with a to-do list system that works for you. Now, in saying that, this is my to-do list system. You have a copy of it to take away and to print. I love getting them printed in big, thick notepads with the sticky stuff at the end. So you can just rip off a page as you get to the end of a page or the end of a day. But that's my thing. You don't have to do that. You might want to get it bound in a booklet that you carry around with you. You might just want to get them loose leaf, just print them off in your printer, perhaps print them off on a bright color. I used to get them printed in yellow so that I wouldn't lose them on my desk. I would always be looking for that yellow piece of paper, whatever suits you, but print it off and work your way through it. My to-do list has several different categories, and this might work for you or it might not, and that's totally fine. But the most important part is the fact that I have my main things to do front and center, 1, 2, 3, 4. You can't miss them. They're the things I need to start off with. Those are the things that are most important. Those are the big things, the big rocks that are actually going to move my business forward. And it's those things that I need to get done and need to prioritize. Sometimes, just sometimes, I like to skip to the other stuff that's down below. But I know that if I'm going to work most efficiently, it's starting with that 1, 2, 3, 4 and making sure that I'm prioritizing the things that are going in that list. You will see that several of my columns have a colon that's, it says number 1 and then there's a line, then there's a colon, there's another line. It's because with my to-do list, I like to give myself time limits. I like to test myself to see if I can accurately predict how long it's going to take me to get something done. And so I don't just write things on my to-do list. I also write times on my to-do list. So it might be that I have to, mark all of my year 11 dance assessments. And that is a task that I'd like to put off, but it needs to be done. And it often takes me about 30 minutes, even though I can put it off for 2-3 weeks easily. So I'll put mark year 11 dance assessments and 30 minutes next to it so that I know when I start, I can start a timer, and then I usually will be able to get it done before the timer goes off. I have a section for quick tasks because often there are things that need to get done that are only going to take 5 minutes. It's often not even worth putting it on the list, but it feels good, right? To write it down, be able to do it, and then to be able to cross it off. I don't know if you're like me and you love doing that, but I really, really love crossing things off. So it's really important to be able to write things down and to be able to mark them off in that quick tasks section and not have all those quick things kind of get lost in the rest of the to-do list. If it's going to take you less than 5 minutes, stick it in the quick tasks. And that way, you know that if you've got to pick up the kids in 10 minutes, you can get 2 of those done and then off you go. My B tasks are the things that are probably going to move up to the 1, 2, 3, 4 when when tomorrow comes. They're things that are not urgent, but they are important, and so they'll work their way up. And the same with the C tasks, they will often work their way up as well. There are things that I can do at night when I'm not necessarily in full brain power, and those things include like playing on Canva. If I need to do a new, some new Instagram posts, that is something that I can do with my feet up on the couch while I'm watching reruns of Sex and the City. And that happens quite easily. I'm not going to do those tasks at 8 a.m. in the morning when my brain is firing on all cylinders and I'm in, my best working zone. I'm not going to do those basic things then. So I put those things down on the do tonight part of my list, because when the kids are in bed, and it's tonight, I can go, right, what were those things that I was going to do? And just ease into the evening with those, really quick things. I have a category for what I have to buy from the shop so that when I walk in there, I don't go, what am I doing? What have I forgotten? Throughout the day, I will add to that. I always write down below what I'm doing for dinner so I can write it down and not think about it again. I like to think about the things that I enjoyed today. So what are the things that I've just done and tackled from my list that I really enjoyed? I love to put that down the bottom. I also have to put my appointments on there. Otherwise I'll just get working and I'll completely forget that I'm meeting somebody for lunch, or that I have to make sure that I'm at the kids' school at a certain time for, helping with home readers or whatever's happening at school. So I often have a section for that. And I have a list for things that I do at home. And that's because my printer is at home and my filing cabinet is at home and my recording equipment is at home. And so there are certain things that I can't do when I'm at the studio. I can't do in my office. I can't do when I'm sitting at a local cafe, but I can do when I get home. So that's what I have that section for. And I think it's, it goes without saying that if, things are in the call section, it's because when I jump in the car and I can call somebody, I will use that time wisely and do that when I'm in transit. And those people go down on that list rather than going in the 1, 2, 3, 4 or the B or C tasks. The final one I want to talk about is the Trello board. And I do have a Trello board that is for my someday maybe stuff, for stuff that doesn't need to be done today or tomorrow or in the foreseeable future. I stick that on my Trello board. And therefore, when my to-do list clears off a little bit, then I, take a breath and go to the Trello board and bring things back. And I also didn't mention, but I probably should, about the life admin stuff. So paying the electricity bill, booking the kids' vaccinations, which was on my life admin task for today. Things like that need to get done that are more family-based than business-based, but that are quite important. So that's why they're right up the top. And I have the 3 lines on the other side because that is where I like to put my goals. I'm going to be talking about goals in a little minute. This is my weekly planner. I don't always, but I do love to set up my week with my weekly planner. And I try and do that during my Sunday reset. So you may have seen my prompts on Instagram about my Sunday reset. I try and reset every Sunday, think about the week, think about what's coming up. I do a little list of the things that I'm going to work my way through. And I really try and set myself up for success for the week. So there's a copy of the weekly planner there if you would like to use it. Again, it's something that I like to get bound and on a sticky thing. So it's a big, nice, thick, sturdy notepad. It's sitting right there on my desk. And that is what I use to set my week up and to set my week up well. I don't always stick to it, but it's really good to start with a plan. And my calendar looks like this, a big hot mess of lots of colors. And the reason that I do lots of different colors is because I know what's happening. I can just look at one glance at my calendar for the day and I know exactly what I'm going to be doing, whether it's going to be time spent teaching, which is in blue, whether it's going to be time spent working on the business, working on my ballet school business, and that's also in blue, whether it's going to be having a no meetings or a deep work day, that's always in green, whether it's going to be doing some coaching, which is always in yellow, whether it's doing kids stuff, which is in orange. I encourage you to get stuck into your calendar and to really start using it. There are so many great paper and electronic options in terms of calendars, and with great reminders. Of course, I can't do anything without a reminder. I almost needed a reminder for tonight to go off to make sure I was here. Like, I don't do anything without reminders from my calendar, and I encourage you to do the same. It is so rewarding to have a system where you don't have to use your brain to think about what's happening for the rest of the day. I don't go to bed at night thinking, oh, okay, tomorrow I've got this and I've got this and I've got that. I can have one glance at it. I can see immediately what tomorrow's day is going to entail, and then I can just go to sleep. And when I get up the next morning, of course, it's all there with buttons and tings and bells and whistles to remind me where I need to be. And that freedom that I get from that, the amount of brain space I can then use for innovating in my business, I can then use for customer relationship management, I can then use to lead my team. That is when my brain power is best used. And I get to use it like that when my calendar is on point. So I encourage you to get yours sorted. So block out some time now, make it non-negotiable to put some systems in place for how you're going to work your to-do list. Either you're going to use my to-do list, you're going to create your own, you've got a new notepad you want to use, perhaps you use an electronic to-do list. All of them are great as long as there is a system and you are using that system. Start small. Again, progress over perfection. Don't try and make your calendar 15 different colors by tomorrow. Just start small. Perhaps you start with, every Monday you're putting together some planning time. Every Sunday, you're going to do a Sunday reset. Start with those, put those in your calendar and then work from there. And then reward yourself when it goes well and don't punish yourself when it doesn't go well, because we're all learning. We're all a work in progress. And as much as I love to talk to you about this stuff, I'm not doing it perfectly every single week. I've got 3 children and 4 businesses. There are days and weeks where I drop the ball as well. But as long as you can come back to it, as long as you can start small again and start to build yourself up, you'll get yourself in a really good position. All right, now's the time with all of that information in your brain, we're going to do a brain dump. And I love to do a brain dump with a brain dump song. So I'm going to put a song on for you to be able to, really sink into being able to get everything that's in your brain out. So whether it is things that you're going to implement in terms of your planning and your time tracking, whether it's things that you're going to implement in terms of your finances and understanding the numbers in your business and your family and where that money is going and how you're spending it or where you would like to spend it. Or perhaps you want to think about your calendar and your to-do list system and the systems that need to work in your household in order for you to work at your very best. And then whatever else is on top of that, what have you been thinking about in the lead up to today? Do you have certain goals that you want to reach for your business? Do you have financial goals you would like to reach? Do you have a certain amount of customers you'd like to bring in? Do you want to completely, close your business down, sell it to somebody else and start something new? Do you have a side hustle that's on the go that no one knows about yet? That's just your little project. Have a think about all of those things and include this in your brain dump. Write it down in your brain dump. Just make a point of, finding those things from your brain and, bringing them out onto the piece of paper so that at least they're there, because once they're there, you can do something with them. You've got 3 minutes. Go for it. Oh my God, these feelings just begun. I'm saying things I've never said, doing things I've never done. Oh my God, when I see you, I should have run. But I'm frozen in motion, and my head tells me to stop. Feelings I feel about us. Try to fight it, but it's never enough. My heart is hurting, it's more than a crush. Cause I'm frozen in motion, and my head tells me to stop. But my heart goes. Cause my heart goes. Oh my God, can't believe what I've become. I'm thinking things I shouldn't think, singing songs I've never sung. Oh my God, when I see you I should run. But I'm frozen in motion, and my head tells me to stop. Feelings I feel about us. Try to fight it, but it's never enough. My heart is hurting, it's more than a crush. Cause I'm frozen in motion, and my head tells me to stop. But my heart goes. Cause my heart goes. But my heart goes. All right, how did we go? Hang on, Jessie, I'll just share it with you now. Awesome. All right. Well, hopefully that unveiled for you the things that are on your mind, the things that you've been thinking about, the things that you said at the New Year's Eve party when someone said, have you got any New Year's resolutions or any goals for next year? And you had to go, kind of. Well, I've been thinking, hopefully those things went down on the piece of paper as well. So you've got some goals, you've got some things that you would like to action, but you need the action steps in order to make sure those things are going to happen. And this is where the gold is, right? We can all have goals where we just, say, this is what we want. My goal for the year, I want to get fit and healthy. Very good. But get fit and get healthy doesn't go on your to-do list. You can't kind of cross that out after a day and go, okay, very good. I did that. I got fit and healthy. No, it's a process. It's a journey. It's something that, takes a bit of time. And so what you need is action steps from that goal. So if you want to get fit and healthy, then some of the action steps that might be part of that is you might join a gym, you might buy a Peloton, you might, think about your grocery shop and make sure that you're only buying healthy food and bringing it into the house. You might think about going to see a nutritionist. These are all the action steps that are going to get you closer to the goal. If you do all of those action steps, then your goal might be achieved. But so often we just put the goal up in front of us and we go, that's what I want, when we don't spend enough time thinking about exactly how we're going to get there. So I encourage you that now that you've got that list of goals and you've got that in front of you and you've actually put it down on paper, and cheers to you for actually doing that and going through that process, giving yourself that time, whether you're doing it here live with us or whether you're watching the recording later. The fact that you've gone through the process and you've got all of that in front of you is a really, really good first step. But what you need to do now is you need to get those actions and need to turn those actions into goals. And I really encourage you to do that in order to make sure that you are going to be stepping further towards those goals in 2022. So in summation, setting goals and planning your time is so incredibly important. Knowing where your time is spent now and knowing where you're going to spend it. Getting clear on your family budget, how much money you're spending on takeaway each week, how much money the electricity bill is each quarter, knowing these things, and then having goals around, how much your business is going to be able to impact on that, and knowing exactly what you need, therefore, to do in your business and how your business needs to work, how many customers you need to get through the door in order to make that happen. Become a to-do list ninja. I've just written to-do ninja. That's not a thing, but so you know what I mean, a to-do list ninja, and get your calendar sorted so that you can get organized, get those systems in place, make the systems work for you, not against you. Use them. The more you use the systems, the more they're going to be working for you and the more you're going to get out of it. So I encourage you to do that. And then, of course, turn those goals that you have for yourself for 2022 into actions. You add those actions to your to-do list and then make sure that you know exactly how you're going to get to those. Make sure that if it is on your list to get fit and healthy, that call the trainer or call the gym or join the gym, or that's on your to-do list. And if you're really serious about it, it needs to be the 1, 2, 3, or 4 on your to-do list. And it needs to be there consistently so that you are making sure that that's part of your world. And let's say that you do join the gym and they do give you the opportunity to work with a personal trainer and they want to meet with you every Tuesday at 9 a.m. Where is that information going to go? You're not going to store it in your head. You're going to make sure that it goes into your calendar, whether that's your written paper calendar or your electronic calendar. You need to make sure that it's written down somewhere so that you don't forget, so that you are organized, and so that you can make sure that organization and those systems are going to move you closer to your goals. Yeah. What you'll notice when you start to make changes is that you will have free time and free brain space in order to be able to use to do whatever you like. And that could be the things that we spoke about, at the very start of the session, long walks along the beach, or an early morning breakfast to yourself, or whatever those things were for you. You'll start to have the brain space and ability to be able to do those things. You'll start to be able to innovate more in your business, because you'll be spending less time in your business kind of on the hamster wheel trying to catch up. And instead, you will have more free time to be able to think about new products, think about new services, to think about new ways to build customer relationships. And those things will help grow your business organically. You won't have to be hustling and hustling and hustling for that to happen. You create those systems, you create those processes, then you will free up the white space that you need in your calendar to be able to take a moment, take a breath, and then magic things happen. So I encourage you to not just take on the information that we've talked about tonight, but instead to make sure that you are actioning these things, not just in January and not just for the start of the year, but that if we touch base, again in June, they are also they're still kicking along. And as I said, don't beat yourself up if you don't get it right every single week. We all have good weeks and bad weeks. So it's so important for you to reward yourself when it works well. And when it doesn't work well, you just pick yourself up and start a new week and try and put the systems and processes back in place. If you want to join us, we have a fabulous Facebook group, How to Run a Successful Business and Still Have a Life. If you're not already a member, I encourage you to add yourself and join the group. It's a really beautiful place of business owners who are, celebrating the things that are working well for them. They're asking questions if they have challenges, people supporting each other, lifting each other up. We've been quite quiet over the Christmas break because everybody's been having time off, and I've kind of respected that without kind of pushing and pushing people's buttons during that time. I know so many people were having complete social media detoxes, but it's the new year, everybody's into a fresh start, so I'm really hoping that you can join us on that Facebook group. And if you would like all of this information, but in a more intense version, and I say intense in a beautiful way, because the more that you can get stuck into it, the more benefit you're going to see in your life and your business, then you can join me for Get Your Life Back. It's my 4-week course for women in business who want to step into that lifestyle that they deserve. Not only will we work through all of these systems and how we're going to work them and how they're going to work for your lifestyle and for your business, but there's, a ton more strategies that I'm adding to the list. Once you've been able to cement these ones, then we add to it, and then we are able to bring in other aspects, other ways to grow your business, other ways to be able to spend more time with your family and more time on the things that you really love and the things that you prioritize in your world. It's a 4-week course. It's kicking off very soon, and it is for women in business. What you will learn is how to get off the hamster wheel and to manage your time, how to grow your business and have time to do the reading groups at school if that's what you want to do, or time to, sit and have a cup of tea on your own without, somebody coming and pulling at your leg. You'll learn how to grow your revenue and increase your profit margin. The budget spreadsheet that I spoke about, we just, that's just a taster. We dive deep into profit margins in your service and for your services and for your products. We make sure that you know your numbers when it comes to the finances in your business, but also when it comes to the numbers that you need to know in terms of your marketing. We talk about the story that you need to tell as part of your marketing in terms of your business and what is going out to your customers, so that you can see results, so that you know exactly where the money is being spent, where the money is coming in, and how we can make sure there's a really good balance between those two things. And then we talk about the practical strategies that we have for finding the balance that you are after between work and life and all of the things that you're juggling in your world. What you will get is weekly videos from me that are centered on the skills that you can implement immediately to see big results. I'm not about giving you too much information and then having you completely overwhelmed. They're bite-sized so that you can jump straight into the content and so that you can achieve it, so that it feels really achievable. And then you get 40 minutes each week with me to nut out the roadblocks and help give you clarity. So it's just an hour a week. If you're already thinking, I'm too overwhelmed with trying to sort my calendar out, Stacey, I don't have time to spend an hour a week with you. You do. You actually do. It's a 20-minute video and then 40 minutes with me implementing the strategies. And it's really tailored to you, your lifestyle, your business, and your priorities. It's not it's not, something that is very generic that you kind of have to really think hard about how you're going to make it work for you and your family. That's what I'm here for. That is what me holding your hand and walking alongside you. That's how that works. You'll feel supported, you'll feel celebrated, you'll be surrounded by other like-minded business women who are also trying to achieve what they want and what they want to get out of their business and out of their lifestyle. So you won't have that feeling of being alone, that feeling of kind of, you're lying awake at night thinking I must be the only person that's worrying about, my business and how it's going and how my, Facebook ads and all of the things that go into the business. You will be surrounded by people who are feeling it with you and going on that journey with you. And you can secure your place today with a deposit of $97. Get Your Life Back is a 4-week course and it's $497. And I would love you to join me. And the other like-minded business women that are going to be in the group, because it's going to be something special. And as I said, the hour a week is very manageable, and it's something that you can do right now to make sure that all of these things that you've brain dumped, all these things that you've been working on are going to be something that really sets you up and is secured for the start of the year. Doors are closing on Sunday and there's only 10 spots. So I'd love you to come and join us. If you're watching the recording, it's not too late. Jump on in, get in touch with us, or if you go to simplystacymorgan.com, we'll be able to give you the link there as well. When you get sent the replay, of course, there will be the link to go and check it out there, but you can check it out now. It's on my website. And this is what people have said about working with me before. Kip Harris is a local marriage celebrant. She's very good at what she does, but she happened to send me a lovely email with a lovely testimonial. She said she couldn't thank me enough for my time and my generous advice. And then she was lovely enough to say that she thinks she spent the most worthwhile hour of her whole career, which is really lovely. And Ashley Sargentson owns Touchwood Flowers, which is a thriving flower business here in Port Macquarie. And she and I have been working together all year, and she was lovely enough to say lovely words about me as well. So I love working with women in business. I love being able to share the things that are working and that are not working for me, so that you can step into your business power and into creating that lifestyle that you really love as well. And that's what I've been lucky enough to do with these two beautiful ladies. As a bonus, if you secure your spot and get your life back before Saturday, you'll also get a bonus week of content and an extra 30 minutes with me, where we'll be able to go through and nut out and really summarize all of the learnings that have happened throughout the course itself. And now it's over to you, ladies. I want to know what questions you have. I want to know what's working for you, what's not working for you. I want you to put your hand up and share if you would like, or if you feel more comfortable, you can jump in the chat and share that way instead. You don't necessarily have to throw your camera on and throw your microphone on, but please do shout out. And if you want some accountability, that is also what I'm here for. So if you've put some really beautiful goals on your list and you want to tell somebody about it and have somebody hold you accountable, then I am absolutely here for that too. So please shout out. You can either throw your microphone on or you can jump in the chat. Let me know. Andrea, what time is it where you are?
Actually, it's in the morning. It's like 10 in the morning now.
Beautiful. I'm just joining us from Germany, everybody.
We have lots of snow today. So,
is it?
Yeah, really. We are in the Alps, so really lots of snow today. And so we were ready to go and skiing right away. But I took the time to just said, okay, I need to do a good start of the new year, and then take time also for me and then for the family. So yeah, that's
yes. I love that. That is awesome. Well, hopefully all of the snow in the ski fields will still be there once you've finished, and thank you for taking the time.
Yeah, very happy. And I also love your to-do list, so I am going to implement this definitely. this so starting from next week, because this week are still holidays, but next week we are back on work. So that's what, and the way I already wrote down also some goals also for the year, more general goals, and I think it's a good way to kind of combine probably your time management methods with the general goals which I have for the year. I don't know how you do it, but probably it's to do step by step and work on one bigger goal and then to the next.
Yeah. And it's about prioritizing, right? You've got to look at all the things that are on your list and go, okay, realistically, I'm not going to get all of those done between now and March. So what do I want to do first? What is most important? What is going to move my business forward, or what is going to make me feel better? What is going to give me more time back for myself? And tackling those ones first is often the best way to do it. Tanae has asked, do we separate business goals and personal goals, or do they all go in together? Tanae, I always put mine in together, because my life is my business and my business is my life, and everything is all intertwined. And, you know, I can compartmentalize when I'm in the moment. If I'm with my kids, I'm very much with my kids. And if I'm at work and I'm teaching, I'm very much with the kids that are in front of me there, who are not, you know, they're not my kids, but I do love them. And so it's important to be able to compartmentalize when it comes to your business and life. But when it comes to my goals, I put it all in together, because it is all such a big part of me. So it's really a personal choice, whatever suits you best. But that's pretty much the way that I love to work it. So thank you so much for your question. And thank you, Anja. I hope you enjoy the ski fields. I'm in a sweat box right now, so it's very hard for me to comprehend that it's snowing where you are. Very, very.
Yeah, I hope I come to Australia one day, and then I will join one of your courses in live.
Absolutely. That will be great. Well, thank you very much, everybody. It's time to go get them. It's time to get in, get stuck in, get straight into those goals. Don't leave this session and put the piece of paper you've been working on in the bottom of the pile on your desk and then completely forget about it. Try and keep it top of mind. Try and keep it in front of you. Try and put some of the action steps that were part of the goal setting process onto your to-do list, so they're going to happen, you know, in the next few days, because that momentum is so important in getting you started and getting you closer towards the goals that you want. You can always reach out to me, especially if you need help at any stage. You can reach me at hello@simplystacymorgan.com. I'm at Simply Stacey Morgan on Instagram. And of course, if you'd like to join us for Get Your Life Back, we are only opening the doors from now until Sunday. So jump on the website, have a look, see if it suits you. $97 today, and then we invoice you for the other $400 later on as we get halfway through the course. I'd really love you to join me, especially if you want this to be the year that's going to make a really big difference. Then that's the best way to go about it. I really appreciate you spending your time with me tonight. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you if you're watching the recording at home, and best of luck with getting that lifestyle that you desire, putting all of the things together and making it happen. I really appreciate your time. Good night, everybody.